Hey guys, no whacking here. Yes, I actually showed up on time. In fact, I'm early. No one else is here. You know why? I am going to sit here and be sure that no codpiece scenes are approaching. I'm gonna avert my eyes. It's gonna be, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing any more codpiece scenes, okay? Not gonna look. Nothing. Nope. Anyway, today we're gonna be doing a review of the 1982 adaptation of Romeo and Juliet by the aptly named Shakespeare Video Company, who actually made quite a few of these back in the day, including adaptations of Richard II and Antony and Cleopatra, starring Timothy Dalton and a few of the cast from Star Trek. Hey, if they can manage a cast like that, they must be good. So let's get right to our review on their take of one of Shakespeare's greatest tragedies. Let's see how things start off.
I strike quickly, being moved. Yes.
Why? Why does this keep happening to me? Why are they doing this? They must hate me!
First, let's talk about the set. It's a stage set, even more so than what the BBC usually does. Also, why do these films insist on having a fountain as a random prop? It is not that critical to the story, people.
Also, in keeping with the stage set, Juliet's bedroom is on the second floor of the stage. If we were meant to believe that this is an entirely different room, I would have been fine. However, in this scene where Juliet fakes her death, all of the other characters seem to acknowledge the fact that her room is just a small area of that second floor with no walls around it, which kind of makes the post-coital scene look a bit creepy. Did no one hear them having sex? That kind of thing tends to cause a bit of noise.
Speaking of things that should grab your attention, the cod pieces.
I realized that it was a very strange decade for fashion, but this insistence on dressing the male actors with ridiculously conspicuous codpieces is a rather confusing choice. They're even worse than the ones on the Zeffirelli. This wouldn't be all that distracting if the cinematographer didn't decide to put them in center frame in just about every shot.
As for scene interpretations, the opening brawl, as with many of the films we have reviewed so far, shows some promise. At very least, it showed promise of being somewhat tolerable.
And like most of what we've reviewed here, we were proven horribly wrong.
The Capulet Ball seems to once again be comprised of strange dancing.
And for some reason, Tybalt in a miniskirt.
Hey, Tybalt can be a snappy dresser.
Not with that fez veil combination headgear, no.
Also, none of these characters seems to have a grasp of being inconspicuous as far as heated conversations go.
'Tis he, that villain Romeo.
Content thee, gentle cows, let him alone. He bears him like a portly gentleman. And to say truth, Verona brags of him to be a virtuous and well-governed youth. I would not, for the wealth of all this town, here in my house do him disparagement.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear.
Say that a little louder, you dumb f***.
The fight scenes were decently choreographed to a point, and that point is usually when the characters are supposed to kill each other. They range from strange to a tad unbelievable to physically impossible.
The final scene, where the drama is supposed to be at its peak, is just plain weird, with an unfortunate interpretation of Romeo being slightly necrophiliac in a key moment. And now let's move on to the actors. Let's start this off with Alex Hyde-White as Romeo.
Beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So shows the snowy dove trooping with crows as yonder lady or her fellows shows.
Alex Hyde-White seems to have what I refer to as the get thee to a nunnery syndrome. It's when an actor looks like he really wants to play Hamlet and recites just about every line like that sequence from Act 3 Scene 1 regardless of which character he's playing.
Rise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she.
What we end up with is less love-struck boy and more Iago plotting Othello's downfall.
He is so hammy, so over-the-top ridiculous, He's like a particularly bad William Shatner impression.
E'en so? Then I defy you, stars!
I'd say he wants to play Hamlet with this interpretation, but that would desecrate Hamlet. He has less than zero emotional fluency. I'm pretty sure that after watching this, I started to lose my ability to recognize emotion.
I know that I've said this before, but seriously, if you establish your character's default emotional reaction to everything as extreme, then that extreme becomes normal. And there really is nowhere else for the actor to go when a scene does call for a valid, extreme emotional reaction.
I am fortune's fool!
Seriously, I think he still has some of the scenery stuck in his teeth. Let's move on to Juliet, played by Blanche Baker. As a treat, here's her delivering some of the play's most iconic lines.
My only love sprung from my only hate. Too early seen unknown and known too late. Prodigious birth of love it is to me that I must love a loathed enemy. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Blanche Baker doesn't come remotely close to a single good line reading this entire show. She is the worst. Her delivery goes from dazed to dull to bad for a first reading of the play.
I'll look to like, if looking liking move, but no more deep will I endart mine eye than your consent gives strength to make it fly.
I'm not sure if she was just somehow forced to participate in the project and was thusly not motivated, but the one thing that I am sure of is that watching her performance as Juliet is quite painful.
What is yon gentleman?
The son and heir of old Tiberia.
What's he that now is going out the door?
Marry, that I think be young Petruchio.
What's he that follows there that would not dance?
I know not.
Go, ask his name.
It's rather excruciating to see her act in scenes with the late Esther Roll, who had roles in To Kill a Mockingbird and I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. As the nurse, she brings so much gravitas, emotion, and visible concern to the role, and she's more or less acting next to a wall.
And from my soul, too. Else beshrew them both.
Amen.
What?
Well, thou hast comforted me marvelous much. Go in and tell my lady I am gone, having displeased my father, to Lawrence' cell, to make confession and to be absolved.
Now, I'm sure they had very good reasons of casting her as Juliet, but I personally just cannot find...
You are being far too nice.
I just compared her to a non-sentient, usually single-function inanimate object.
Too nice. I mean, look, this is how she sounds when she's happy.
Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaways' eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms untalked of and unseen.
Worried?
How if when I am laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me?
And sad.
Back, foolish tears, back to your native spring. Your tributary drops belong to woe, which you mistaking offer up to joy.
That is not how you respond to your cousin's death. That is the same voice you were using when you were talking about how excited you were about Romeo's codpiece.
It was the nightingale and not the lark that pierced the fearful hollow of thine ear. Nightly she sings on yon pomegranate tree.
No! That's my thing! You can't be blonde and like pomegranates. You're giving a bad name to blonde, pomegranate-loving actresses everywhere. Actresses that can act! Okay, no, I'm gonna stop you right there. You cannot pull off the dagger at the ready look. Do you even know which end to hold? Dead people are not supposed to breathe that hard. Or at all. Jiminy Cricket, you can't even be dead right. Okay, no, you do not go to bed with your hair in braids. Do you want to see what happens when you go to bed with your hair in braids? This is what happens when you go to bed with your hair in braids. This is the worst Juliet I have ever seen. I didn't even know it could get this bad.
Oh, happy dagger, this is thy sheath. There rest, and let me die.
Die, Juliet, die. Dost thou feel the blade? Dost
Dost thou feel the warmth gushing from thy wound? Dost thou feel the cold night closing in on thine eyes?
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I just need to take a walk. The Pacific is calling. I'll be fine.
Of course, it takes two to tango, so let's see how our dynamic duo of trying too hard and borderline comatose do when they share a scene.
If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this: my lips to blushing pilgrims ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss.
God, Norma Shearer's Opium Days performance was better than this.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have yet not drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound.
Oh dear God, really?
Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Once again, Romeo keeps drifting between Hamlet and Iago, while Juliet keeps smoking an entire field of marijuana.
I must be gone and live or stay and die.
Yond light is not daylight, I know it I. It is some meteor that the sun exhales to be to thee this night a torch-bearer, and to light thee on thy way to Mantua.
Great, Lord Angst and Lady Coma sharing the same bed. It's like dividing by zero.
I can now believe that no one would hear them when they're having sex, even though the room has no walls. Romeo must have felt like he was banging a corpse. Of course, a later scene kind of implies that he likes that. Ugh.
Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, oh you, the doors of breath seal with a righteous kiss, a dateless bargain to engrossing death.
Thankfully, the pain ends after nearly 140 minutes.
Oh, true apothecary, thy drugs are quick!
Not quick enough!
Okay, let's do a quick rundown of the other actors in this crime against theater. William H. Bassett as Prince Aeschylus was good with really evident gravitas. Peter MacLean as Lord Capulet was okay, but Lady Capulet and Paris were terrible, making Team Capulet quite on the whole sad. The nurse, played by Esther Roll, is a bit more serious here, and Alva Stanley as Friar Lawrence is just but no one stands out. On the bright side, Mercutio kind of looks like a porn star and is somewhat charismatic with his "yeah, I'd f*** me" vibe. Overall, when you leave Romeo and Juliet thinking, well, at least the prince was good, you know something awful has just happened. Besides Aeschylus and some amusing day drinking between Benvolio and Romeo, as well as some hilarious nighttime drinking with Mercutio and Benvolio, nothing remotely good happens here. It is almost 3 full hours of suck. The movie is crushingly dull when it doesn't manage to be egregiously, flamingly bad. The only way to survive this one is by playing the overacting versus underacting game. This royally blows.
This production claims to be a Shakespearean drama of the highest quality, and that English and drama teachers, as well as a typical playgoer, will find this feature of tremendous value. Well, they're not wrong. This shows you exactly what not to do in any adaptation. Ever. Bad casting, terrible performances, horrible shot framing, and failed attempts at special effects make this downright painful to sit through.
Past hope, past cure, past help.
And that was our look at the utter abomination that is the Shakespeare Video Society's Romeo and Juliet from 1982. Next time, we'll look at an adaptation that brings Verona to a modern and highly stylized setting. Until then, this has been Cassius.
And this has been Sharky.
Farewell. Thou canst not teach me to forget. Though after this it'd be great.
Hey guys, guys know acting here. Yes, I actually showed up on time this morning. In fact, I'm early. No one else is here. You know why? So I can sit here and avert my eyes. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna sit in this room and avert my eyes to everything.